Hello, welcome to episode 123 of the Jurassic Outpost podcast. My name's Jack, and I'm joined with Caleb. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, 123, episode 123.
Hey, coming through clear. And I'm also joined with Jake. Nice to meet you, man.
Hi, nice to be a part of the podcast. First time.
Yeah, Jake.
We've talked for a long time. I kind of forget. I don't know where we go back.
I've been connected with you guys on Twitter for a long time, but I've not been so good about like reaching out to other fans. I've more been like an observer for the last few years, but I'm trying to like reach out more and just kind of build those connections, because part of the fun of this whole thing is talking with others and theorizing and all that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's such a very fandom, so many people out there, and I think it was in that period of time after JP3, things went quiet, but Jurassic World has truly reinvigorated it, and now it's just so, it's truly part of pop culture again.
Absolutely.
So, but I mean, before we jump into the exciting stuff, Jurassic World 4 and everything, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on Chaos Theory.
Yeah, I actually just finished it a couple days ago, and overall, I enjoyed it more than Camp Cretaceous. I actually have not finished Camp Cretaceous, like the last 3 episodes or so, but overall, the tone just felt much more Jurassic Park to me, like Chaos Theory. The feel of it, the look of it, just and the absence of all like the Brad X stuff and all that, which just did not work for me at all. Just as a Jurassic Park fan, it just connected with me a lot more than Camp Cretaceous did. Yeah.
I definitely felt that. Yeah, I think Caleb
for sure
feels the same.
I'm looking forward to the. I was going to say I'm looking forward to the fall. I believe September, is that when the next season drops, or is that correct?
I think that's the plan.
They said they said fall 2024.
Okay, I thought I saw September.
I think everybody's assuming the earlier side of it.
September, October makes sense.
Well. Yeah. And the way how fast Camp Cretaceous released, they were pumping those seasons out. I have no doubt that Chaos Theory is going to follow a pretty similar trajectory. But I think by September, maybe October, we'll know the next season. But I think it's funny. It's one of those shows that even the people that had kind of disconnected from the franchise, and even Camp Cretaceous, the ones that had fallen off that, totally in for Chaos Theory. And I think it feels like
it's nice to see.
Yeah, it feels like almost a reboot of its own self. It feels very different to Camp Cretaceous in many ways.
Exactly.
It's matured as it's gone, and I think
exactly. Yeah.
I think that's cool. But speaking of September, July actually, there is Comic-Con, and I believe Chaos Theory is going to be there in some capacity. Whether they show something from season 2, whether they've got cast there, whether it's a panel, I'm not sure we know that yet. Caleb, do we?
They just said they were going to be there. The only person I've seen say that they're like not able to make it or something was one of the writers said that. And so like, I don't know if it's going to be a panel or if they're just going to show footage as part of a different panel, or a tease as part of a different panel, or if they're going to have like a booth set up, or if they're going to, I'm sure they're also probably going to have like toys at the Mattel booth, and they'll probably have some sort of whether they have a panel or something or not, I actually, now that I think about it, I bet they have like some toys and like a display at the Mattel booth too. So,
well, we will have people on the ground there from Jurassic Outpost, so hopefully there will be something big announced to season 2, whether they show it. I think they'll probably show a trailer or something like that. Along with a panel, it would be great. They'll probably bring along cast members or something like that. It would be really interesting if they are able to also utilize that floor, that space, for something Jurassic. I think many people were expecting an announcement yesterday.
Yeah. Likewise. Yeah. So strange that they didn't, and that's one of the things that I really miss about Colin, is that he was so good about interacting with the fans, and based on how I would remember it, he would put out something on his Twitter first, and then Universal would just reshare what he posted, and I miss that. So I'm hoping they drop something soon.
Yeah, we've right. Colin's. Sorry, Caleb, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say we've gotten like teases a year out, or like pictures of the slate, or like title. For Fallen Kingdom, it was just like a title and a logo reveal. It wasn't like a picture from set. But like, I don't know. I was one of those people expecting some sort of something yesterday, and so I said this on the last podcast, but it kind of begs the question of like, why the radio silence? What are we waiting for?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's very strange.
Mm. And part of it, I'm totally in two minds, because I like to just think we should just leave them alone, let them get on with it. But on the other
Mm-hmm.
side of it, giant franchise, it's a year out from release. I feel like they've been trying to make Jurassic World and this whole franchise feel like one of the other big franchises, but then they miss opportunities like this. Just a simple announcement of like the movie saying it's a year out, because I mean a year is not a long time either, so it's so close, and they're still shooting, which isn't. I'm not saying that's rushed or anything. I just mean it's crazy to think that there wasn't an announcement really, or any sort
Mm-hmm.
of acknowledgement. But then we've
Maybe,
had plenty of acknowledgements from Frank.
yeah,
Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
his office on
That's
set.
yeah.
I've I've loved those photos. Do you guys think there's any chance that they will ever do a tease similar to what they did for JP3 with just like the slow tracking shot through the jungle, the lightning? Like, do you think they'll ever do that again?
If we were in the Blu-ray like DVD days, then maybe.
Right,
I
right.
remember first
Because I
stumbling
missed
upon that
that.
as well. Yeah, getting
Yeah.
I think it was on the Lost World, like the Jurassic Park Lost World
Yep.
DVDs, wasn't it? Special
It
edition.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
Yep.
seeing it for the first time, freaking the hell out as a kid.
Yeah. I still get goosebumps just thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe they've got something planned for Comic-Con. You never know. But
One can
they've
hope. I just don't want to get
never.
my hopes up again. Yeah.
Yeah, same. They've never. I don't know that they've ever done like the film announcement or film anything at Comic-Con before. But who
they
knows?
haven't, but they've mentioned Jurassic Park 4 has a history of being a comic, like being at
Yeah,
Comic Con. Spielberg
yeah,
talked about he was asked a question about JP4 back prior to the Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver days, and that's when he announced, "Yeah, we are looking at ideas with Mark, the guy who wrote I Am Legend, I can never pronounce
Something
this.
with a P, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Mark P." Uh,
That
yeah,
works.
yeah. I remember Spielberg mentioned that was at Comic Con, I think, which was the first
yeah.
time Jurassic Park 4 had been mentioned in a long time.
I remember just being glued to those little clips and just like any inkling of any news, Dan's JP3 page those days, like I was part of all of that. So
That
yeah.
was that was the good
Yes.
old days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would go to like comingsoon.net, every movie site I could find, and just try to search
Dark
JP4 like
Horizon.
every day. And yeah, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going now.
Oh,
You have to go on the archives and look at all those.
yeah.
I was saying,
Yeah.
sometimes I do. I go through Dan's archives and just read
Mm.
through all the old rumors and plots and things that were like, apparently JP4 takes place in space, and you're like, ah, well, maybe.
Space.
I don't remember
Man,
that one, but
back in the day, it was every day go sit down at the computer and type in Jurassic Park 4
Yeah,
every
and see
day.
it
Yeah.
and see if there like see if anything came up at the top of Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then for the longest time, it said releasing 2005 or something like that for like
Yeah.
years, and then it never happened.
and back then as
Yeah.
well, back in the kind of the early days before social media, when you'd see a poster online, it's harder to differentiate between, was this a fan made poster? It's like sometimes you'd see a poster and you believe it
Yeah.
for a long time. That was it's the JP4
Exactly.
poster.
Yeah.
Used to print
Wasn't
them
there
off.
that? Yeah. Wasn't there that one with the Dilophosaurus? I think it was that most fans thought was legit for like a good chunk of time. It had
Yes.
the red background, like the city
Yeah.
at the bottom. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, I
That
bought
was a
into
good
that one too.
Jurassic
There was
City.
there was a bunch, man.
Right.
And some of them were so good. Some of them, there was one that was called like Jurassic Park. I think it was like Dark Continent or something, but it was all set
Hmm.
in like a desert scenario. But the poster was sent to, I think before it was Jurassic Outpost, when it was just the Jurassic Park 4 website, was sent to
Hmm.
us, and it was like believed it to be real. I remember how we were just so starved for news at that point.
Yeah, take what you can get. Yeah,
Take what you can get.
your hopefulness took over. You're like, it must be real. Yeah.
Do you remember all the rumors as well that used to come out of Hawaii from Bob's Island movie tours and stuff? Used to be
Yeah,
like,
all of those pages.
Universal reps are here scouting. It looks like they're scouting for Jurassic. Oh, the dream.
Good days, good days. Yeah.
I'm getting similar vibes though from some of these set photos. We said on a previous podcast that
Yeah.
this whole sort of distant blurry shots of cast filming and stuff feels like the early days. Feels like what it was like to watch
It really
JP3
does.
be filmed. And I'm getting very similar vibes purely because I mean they're back in tropical jungle, tropical island. You know, at least that's what we're being told. We're being told it's an island, and what we're seeing visually from what they're filming, it's like it's the tropics of Jurassic. I'm really curious. I'm really curious what the story is because somewhere along the way, I'm sure you remember. You know, they've always said about how they need Jurassic to get away from the islands. And Jurassic it won't work if it stays in the jungle or anything like that. And now it does seem like we're going back to the core basics of Jurassic. What do you think that tells us?
Well, I was actually going to ask you, are we allowed to talk about like details from some of the leaked pics? Like, can we talk about specifics or should we avoid that sort of thing?
No, I think on the podcast
We
we
can?
kind of have a free
Okay,
rule.
just
We
making
talk about
sure.
anything, so yeah.
Yeah.
So there was that, and there was like a fuel pump of some sort that had the InGen logo on it that was spotted on set. Does that make any of you guys lean more towards the fact that we might be going back to Sorna for this sequel?
Well, aside from that whole doc video and images thing, it's so hard to
it was
make
on the dock.
anything out. And then in the closer shots, which are suspiciously super blurry too, it just something about it doesn't look real to me. Whether it's been edited, whether like an InGen logo has been put on there, but maybe that's just my eyes deceiving me. The pictures are so low res, it's hard to make anything out anyway.
Right, and it has just been the one photo, so it's
of the actual InGen, and like the video of the dock itself, it's too far, I think, to make out if there's anything on that logo there or anything. But I mean that to me, everything we're seeing so far, and the fact that they said it in Variety that it's the island, just like to me, that's like they are going back to the original island, one of the two.
Interesting.
Yeah,
do you worry? Do you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Caleb.
No, I was just gonna say I think there's a strong case to be made that we're going back to Sorna or Nublar. Whether it's after Dominion or set in a time previously, I don't know. I think either way it would work to go back to one of the original islands. So,
yeah, I was gonna say too. Like from a fan perspective, I kind of miss the islands after Dominion. I didn't want to because I was ready for the story to like move forward, but there's a part of me that still kind of craves the island like atmosphere for Jurassic. But from like a general audience perspective, how do you see the general audience like reacting to going back to an island again? Do you think people are going to be like, "Oh, here we go again. They're doing the same thing, like another island"? Like,
I think. Caleb, you go ahead. Sorry, buddy.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think people will probably do the usual, like, complaining about going back to an island, but we've been going back to an island every single time, essentially. Like, we went back to Nublar for half of Fallen Kingdom, and then the locations after that were isolated locations that were essentially had all the same isolation and some of the same like properties of an island. They're essentially an island in essentially anyway. So like, and I'm someone who they could go back to Nublar and Sorna every movie and I would be fine with it. So like, I don't know. It excites me that we're going back to an island. I think it's great. I think it will attract general audiences just because it is possibly classic Jurassic vibes and like adventure. And I mean, I think it might put some people off, and that's fine. But I think it will attract a lot of people too. So,
yeah.
What were you gonna say, Jack?
So I feel like one of the, as Jake said, like one of the staples. I miss the island, and I miss the islands, and that sort of feel of like Jurassic Park always kind of begins with a journey somewhere, a journey into an environment that feels very similar to the way like they approach Skull Island. You know, it's like this mysterious land, this cloud island. And after the event of the first movie, this park that went wrong, it's both those islands are therefore these crazy kind of abandoned, scary islands where no one lives, and it's just like left to the animals there are left to their own devices, and the buildings are all abandoned now and stuff. So I feel like after JP3 we still didn't finish that story. There's still so much more. There's the abandoned Jurassic Park. There's everything that happened on Site B, including everything that led up to InGen leaving Site B. I've always felt like there was still all these stories to be told, and so much more land on both the islands just to explore other buildings, other locations, other sides of the island that we haven't seen. I feel like it's a totally overlooked thing that not that Jurassic World movies needed to do that, but they've overlooked that sort of side of it. So I'm more than happy for them to just be like, actually, we're going straight back to the island. I can see where it would make sort of somebody that's not too invested think, oh, that's just eye-rolly. In the same sense as like, oh, it's a 7th Jurassic Park movie. Why are they still building parks? You know what I mean?
hate when people say that. It's like, clearly you've not been following the story.
Exactly, but that sort of argument then is also, I'm not going to watch it again because they just keep going back to the island. Why do they go there? And it's like, okay, if you're not fully invested, then there's no logic. As long as it's written well, like, give us a reason to go back to the island that makes sense, then I'll take it.
If we were in the real world, they would keep building parks. We would keep going back to the islands. Like I promise it's realistic.
I fully believe that.
Yeah.
But I was going to say too, going back to the whole abandoned thing, even though Jurassic World included that element where they revisit the visitor center and all of that, it didn't quite scratch that itch for me for like going back to the park, seeing the abandoned remnants of the original park. Like it was so obscured and it didn't feel quite right to me. Like it was still nice to see. It's just something about it was missing. I can't quite explain it fully, but
no, I just want to see more.
Something was different about it. Yeah,
more of the abandoned park.
This is the way it was shot. Something felt off about it. I can't put my finger on it.
It was when we first see the visitor center in Jurassic Park, you are across the lake and you see the car drive up.
Now there's these trees in front of it, and
and you get a sense of that location. It's like if you wanted to recreate that, just show us, go back to the other side of the lake and have Zach and Gray.
Zach and Gray.
Just walking up in the same direction that the Jeeps were going, and then you suddenly it's like, oh shit, hidden behind the trees, look, it's the visitor center, and you give the audience a real sense. All we got in the movie was like close-ups of the steps, which didn't give off like, oh, that's the steps from the visitor center in Jurassic Park. You know,
but I'll say though, when I think it's Zach, he has the torch and he puts it up against the wall, and you see the Velociraptor like artwork from the original visitor center. That still gives me chills. Like I still love that moment. So even though it's not shot very well,
I think like the whole Jeep sequence is done really well. I like the idea of them, even though those Jeeps would be totally seized up. Obviously, I think the logic was that some Maserati people are probably looking after maintaining those Jeeps, right? Is that the argument?
Possibly, sure, yeah.
Let's go with that.
But I really do like that sequence, that discovery sequence, when they find the goggles and stuff. It's a bit of nostalgia bait, but it's like it's logical. They ventured into that sort of side of the park, so that was nice.
Completely. And I remember pausing that scene, and if like you look in the background, you could see the old Nublar map and just all of this like attention to detail, and I love that.
As well
all of that. I was like, that's really cool.
But you're right that there just was not enough of it. It was such a brief part of Jurassic World. I would take a whole movie of a team like return to Jurassic Park, go in.
Maybe that's what we're about to get.
And I guess that comes full circle, because the whole point was these filming pictures. It does, and the potential InGen logo on the dock. It seems like we are going back, and I think, okay, so we can talk about the ancient ruins that were found. So in Thailand, they've been filming, and one of the locations they utilized what were already just sort of like concrete steps in a location leading up to a waterfall, if I remember correctly. They built fake Aztec ruins or Mayan ruins or some sort of ancient ruins on these steps leading up to it that form some sort of like temple, or either way, just like ancient looking staircase. The only other time that's been seen in Jurassic is in the video game Trespasser, where Isla Sorna had this history that you learn a bit more about, where there were these Aztec ruins. I think they were Mayan ruins in Isla Sorna, if I remember correctly. So the first time I saw those, I thought, oh, we're definitely going to Sorna. we're gonna see that side of sauna. We're going back there, and we're gonna. But I don't know. I just.
I think it makes sense.
It's the hopeful Lost World lover in you that's wanting that.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think Caleb pointed this out, but the locations we've been seeing so far where they're filming, if they are going to sauna, look more like JP3's sauna, obviously.
Completely.
Yeah.
Small redwoods, California.
Right. And didn't I see something about them planting like a lot of long grass for some sort of sequence as well?
Yeah.
Like they did that, right? Yeah. Okay. So that's another thing that makes me lean towards sauna as well.
Not into the long grass.
Right.
Yeah, so
who
there's
knows?
A whole field that's been apparently was grown for the production, but that is not something that's come from, say, Deadline or something. But
right, yeah, it's just
But that seems, I mean, same thing happened in The Lost World. One of the crew members grew a field of tall grass, and then we have the iconic scene. I think I think this movie is obviously going to reintroduce velociraptors in their hunting.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think we're going to get raptors again that are like, you're going to die if you see one. Dead.
Wild raptors.
We need that back.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys who are you hoping for a certain iteration of the raptors? Like, do you want the Lost World, like tiger striped raptors, or the JP3 raptors? Like,
I mean, if we're going back to Sorna, then like it would, and this is just me being a fan and speculating, but like it would be wild to see just the variations of the quote unquote Highland and Lowland velociraptors of Sorna. Like it would be cool to see them together. Like and I think, you know, if there were Nublar raptors there, then it would be begging an explanation of like what has InGen been up to or why are they there. Or I mean, Jurassic movies have done this before where like it's a new movie, so we get a brand new variation of raptor. So that could happen too.
And I was going to say too, I think there's that artwork that Chris shared on his Twitter of the Lost World raptors. I think they're like fighting the raptors from JP3, and I believe Colin Trevorrow liked that artwork as well. So I believe they already know that this is kind of something the fans are interested in and want to see on the big screen.
Yeah,
so
we'll
hopefully
it's one of I was just going to say the egg that is at the center of Jurassic Park 3, that's like it's going to be a full-grown animal at this point. So maybe we'll see it.
Oh yeah. It's that one.
Yeah. I'm being an idiot, so.
Speaking of dinosaurs, though, there was a video that came out at the time of recording this morning, which showed us a Parasaurolophus on the set of Jurassic World 4. So let's talk about that. At first glance, it is the Dominion Parasaur, but it's a maquette. It's not an animatronic.
Yeah.
I don't know. Caleb, do you want to give us any other breakdown of this footage?
It's an interesting. So, I mean, the footage makes me say, like, how are people just walking up to this thing and taking a video of it? Like, why is this not a little bit more secure? But no, someone walks up to what seems to be like a foam maquette, pretty large. Like, seems to be like life-size Parasaurolophus. Its coloration is one that fans would probably recognize from Dominion, like the winter location Parasaurolophus. And this is just my opinion, but like the eyes look a little bit different from the Dominion Parasaurolophus, and that's really the only thing I noticed because the rest was under a tarp. But like, so it could be sort of some people were saying it could be like the Fallen Kingdom model with the Dominion colors. But either way, it seems to be a very large maquette that will be used for lighting references and visual effects references, and perhaps just scale. Maybe with actors, maybe not. But it's a very large prop that's used for those things that the Jurassic has used in every single film. So, yeah.
I think it's interesting at the start of the video, you can see someone's taken down the tape that was surrounding, the warning tape that was surrounding it.
Well, there's the answer to that. There's warning tape.
There was like it looks like something surrounding it. But yeah, so it's covered in blue tarp, it's lying there, but the head is poking out, and you can kind of see it's the Dominion colors. As Caleb mentioned, this would have been used for lighting references more than anything. There's no way they would have used this on screen. It's coming apart. Foam is kind of breaking at points. But they did this all the way back for the first movie. And in The Lost World, you can see pictures of Dennis Muren holding up maquettes of the Triceratops and different animals. Not Triceratops, the Stegosaurus, in the locations where those VFX animals would be put in. Perfect lighting reference. I'm assuming the same is taking place here.
Yeah.
We know that there's no animatronics on location for this movie, so that it's not an animatronic. This is purely just a maquette, but it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, do we think this is... Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jack, but do we think this is indicative of the design that's going to be in the film, or we think they're just reusing what they had from Dominion and just like repurposing it?
I think they're probably just reusing what they have.
What they had.
As a stand-in, and like I think there's going to be a Jurassic design Parasaurolophus in the film, because Parasaurolophus has been in every Jurassic movie. So like Parasaurolophus, I think, is going to be in the movie. Right now I would lean towards saying that it's probably not going to look like that one, but like not as far as like colors go is what I'm saying. But I don't know.
Yeah, I would imagine, especially as those Dominion blue parasols, we saw them exclusively in a snow environment, right, up in Canada. So I don't think, I don't think we're going to see the same based on the location we're in, but could be. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it ties to those paras.
Yeah, my favorite thing that I saw someone say about this para is that like, if it's in the river that we've also been seeing in the set pics and videos, then like it reminds us all of Jurassic Park the ride and Jurassic World the ride, with a Parasaurolophus possibly like just bursting out of the river or something, which would be really cool.
It's a really interesting thing to have seen this morning. I did not expect to see that.
Yeah.
I think Real News has been sharing a bunch of other stuff showing what they've been filming. We have the long grass, which is really cool. I can't wait to see what they've filmed there. Just the locations in general in and around where they're filming. But there's a video, smoke on the water. So do we know, this obviously depicts filming of some kind, right? But
there seems to be... Yeah, there seems to be a boat or two sort of coming between those rocks in the smoke or something like that. But yeah.
Have you seen this one, Jake? This is this.
I have, yeah. And in the post that I did see, the person who posted it was speculating that they could see like Scarlett Johansson's like head in the boat, like she was the one driving it, whether it was her stunt double or what. So I don't know if the person the post I was reading, that was the person who was like actually there and took that picture, but who knows? Wow. It's very far away, so hard to tell.
That's the thing, you can't.
Yeah, it's all just
Bigfoot video level of quality, but
it does give me. Yeah, I was going to say, it gives me opening of JP3 vibes a little bit, with the boat going through the water and the fog and everything.
Oh yeah,
yeah, a little bit.
They're just making a remake of JP3. Right. For what reason? Nobody knows.
Just to make Assis mad. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Remaking it. We're fixing it. We're fixing JP3.
Hey, you can't fix a perfect movie.
That's it. Yeah. Stood here. My name on the recording is Paul.
I just noticed that. Yeah, you're Caleb is Cooper. You're Paul Kirby. That's amazing.
I'm a professional. I can handle myself.
But I think I'm trying to make out what they're doing. You literally can't see too much, just boats and smoke.
That the boat struck me as being like, I don't know, it didn't feel modern to me. It felt kind of old, but like, I don't know. It's far away, so like, I don't know, but
that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have no idea. We know that from the photos and everything, there's obviously some sort of helicopter incident on the island. We obviously
Mm-hmm.
now know there's a boat related. So whatever's happening, God, it's just Jurassic. It's
It's
so
so
Jurassic
Jurassic.
at this
It's
point.
so Jurassic.
Well, I mean, but you can't get any real indication on story from this. So, I mean, what have we heard in regards to story? And Jake, actually, this is a good question, Jake. So,
Mm-hmm.
favorite movie, Jurassic Park. Favorite sequel of the five sequels we have.
Of the five, yeah. Favorite movie is obviously the first one. Favorite sequel is The Lost World, without a doubt. Yeah,
Yes.
it's
We
just
the first
it has,
movie.
for me. Yeah, it feels so Jurassic Park while also feeling so entirely different from the first movie. I love the score. Um,
Yeah.
just
Yes.
the tribal feel of it, and just like there's something about watching it, you can like feel the environment, like you can feel the jungle when you're
Hmm.
viewing the movie. It feels dirty, it feels damp. Like I don't get that from the Jurassic World films. I don't feel like I'm getting pulled into the environment like I did with The Lost World. um, and just I love what they did with Malcolm in that movie, making him the lead, just everything about that. And plus I was born in 93, that movie came out in 97, so that was right around the time when I was growing up, and the merchandise and everything. So um,
Yeah.
it was just very formative for me, and I just a really strong nostalgic attachment for that movie, Lost World.
No, that's
Yeah,
great. I
yeah.
mean, I'm totally the same. If it wasn't for the first two, where would you go? Which was your favorite? Or if it wasn't for the
Ooh,
Lost World, which would your favorite sequel be?
oh,
Mm.
that's tough. I know JP3 is not a great movie overall, but I just the when it is Jurassic, it's so Jurassic, like the pteranodon sequence and everything. It's a very potent dose of Jurassic Park, but it gives me
Yeah.
exactly what I'm looking for. It's an hour and like 33 minutes or something like that, but
That's it.
it
That's
just
how
feels so
people.
Jurassic Park to me. It's what I'm looking for. The story is whatever, but yeah.
Yeah, it
So
definitely has that feel. Everybody feels like you need a bite-sized Jurassic, or you need like an injection.
exactly,
Like, I'll go
that's
JP3. I'll have a quick.
90-minute thrill
best
ride.
way to put it.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
and it's just a shame how the movie ended up, but it still feels
Hmm.
like the first two in a sense. And I think obviously it
Yeah.
has the help of being something that came only 4 years after the last one, same era, but it
Hmm.
definitely has the Jurassic feel that
Hmm.
many of us feel is maybe missing from the world movies. And I think
Hmm.
Gareth was like, I was done. When they announced the next movie and when it was David Leitch, I was out,
Yeah,
and I was
I
so ready to
saw
just pack it in.
I
It was
saw
the
some of your
Gareth.
posts. It
Hey,
was
we
very clear.
dodged.
Yeah.
We dodged that guy though. We dodged him.
We did. It's the
Yeah.
Gareth. It was when they mentioned Gareth, and I just remembered back to watching Godzilla and thinking, "Oh, this guy understands Jurassic." I have a feeling now that
Yeah.
we are gonna maybe get some of that feeling back, purely because Gareth seems to, at least in Godzilla and what he depicts on screen, seems to understand it a little bit more than
Hmm.
what we did
Yeah,
in the beginning.
he gives everything that sort of grounded feel, and I think that's really what Jurassic needs right now, is to feel grounded and
Hmm.
gritty and real. Um,
Yeah.
but I was going to say too, with David Leitch, I recently saw The Fall Guy, and wasn't that the movie that was kind of making Spielberg lean towards him, like his job on
Yeah.
that film, The Fall
Yeah.
Guy?
I
Well, I
believe so.
watched it, and I did not see the movie was great, it was fine, but there was nothing about it that screamed Jurassic to me.
Yeah.
Maybe he
That's
would have done a great
exactly.
job, but I just was like, okay, I don't get it. But
No, but that's a completely valid point though, because like it just didn't scream Jurassic to you, and it needs to.
even exactly, yeah,
Yeah,
and even
Gareth
the way the
has a body of work that you can pick out. Like Rogue One, yeah, Star Wars, but you can pick out elements. You're like, I can see how that would work for Jurassic.
Yeah.
Godzilla
exactly.
has literal elements that are Jurassic Park and feel very
Hmm.
Jurassic. That whole build up feels very Jurassic, and it is a
Hmm.
literal honor to the first film with the helicopter shots.
Yeah.
Exactly. He brought some of that Jurassic Park flavor to the first Godzilla, so now he's going full Jurassic. I want to see what he can do with that.
Now he's gonna
Yeah,
bring
So
Jurassic flavor to Jurassic.
yeah,
right, it's a
yeah.
lot of
He's
flavor.
gonna put the Jurassic back in Jurassic. I think is the important thing.
Right, right.
Um, but it's great. I think with David Koepp coming back as well, it really is hard to not think that maybe this one isn't a sequel as such. Like, it's a sequel to the third movie, but maybe it's a prequel to Jurassic World. Just, there seems to be a lot of elements at play that are making me feel like we might be going back. Bringing David Koepp in is just, I mean, they brought David Koepp in for Indiana Jones, right? If I remember correctly, he wrote the fifth one too.
No, it ended up being somebody else.
Oh, he didn't.
Yeah,
he was on it.
Not the final version.
Yeah, he was on it early on, but then he left.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that movie stinks.
I strongly disagree, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, you liked the fifth Indiana.
Yes, but I don't know.
Have you seen it, Jake?
I have. Yeah, I don't want to say I was disappointed by it, but I left the theater not feeling like I got out of it what I wanted to get out of it. I felt like it was unnecessarily like depressing at times. I don't know if that was needed to tell that story. What they did to his character at the start, making him, I don't want to go into spoilers, but yeah, it was just some stuff I felt was unnecessary, and it definitely was missing that Spielberg flair at times. It taps into it here and there, like throughout the film, but it kind of in a way made me even appreciate Crystal Skull even more. Not the story and the aliens, all of that, but just the way it was filmed, the way it was made. Yes. It made me kind of miss that, you know. And I was like,
Crystal Skull for the longest time was this awful Indiana Jones movie, and now it feels like, oh, at least it feels a bit like Indiana Jones.
That's what I'm.
Welcome to Indiana Jones Outpost episode.
I think you were right though. There were elements in Dial of Destiny that were a little bit Spielberg, and then I agree with you. The whole opening, I was like, hang on, why making me not? Why is he like this failed man all of a sudden? The whole character arc was strange, but there were cool elements of that movie. I just thought it dragged on too. I was like, this is truly too long now, and like because it's not hitting all those beats. But okay, but David Koepp didn't write that anyway, so that's irrelevant. But I was just going to say bringing David Koepp in makes sense, but it's making me think like, what if they're bringing him in because they want to go back, and he wrote the first two and would have been contributed to the third, contributed to the ideas of the fourth at times. He probably has loads of pages on his own. They probably went over old ideas. I like to think that. I don't know. It tells me we're going back, but then all the things we keep hearing indicate that it's definitely post Dominion. So I just don't know what to believe anymore.
I was gonna bring up Koepp too because he's still like my favorite part of this whole thing because I just think he's great because of Jurassic Park and the Lost World, but because of a bunch of other things that he's written, and
Secret Window.
Yes. Well, I mean,
is that the Johnny Depp movie?
Yeah, Johnny Depp. Yeah.
It is? Okay, I was just
No, but his novel, a couple of his novels that he's written recently are great, like sci-fi suspense, and but what you're saying, Jack, makes sense. Whether it's before the Jurassic World trilogy or after, it makes sense for them to go back to the islands because of David Koepp is another reason that it makes sense to go back to the islands because he knows the islands. So
he established them. He wrote
exactly.
them.
Yeah.
I hear that name and I just think of the making of featurettes for Jurassic Park and the Lost World because he's featured so heavily in the interviews for both of those featurettes. So
and I wonder
he gets Jurassic.
Yeah, I was wondering the other day. I was like, I wonder if he's gonna go to any of the production locations, maybe when they're filming in the UK or something, because he was close to the productions of the first two films, was he not?
Yeah. I believe he was in. I mean, whether or not he was there the whole time, but he was in Hawaii for Jurassic. He was in Hawaii for Jurassic for the Lost Jurassic Park 2, and
Jurassic Park 2.
There's that famous picture of him and Spielberg on the set of the Lost World having a conversation with script in hand, and I think
I think that's. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just want him to visit the Jurassic World 4 or whatever it is. I just want him to visit the set and recreate some of those photos.
Yeah, purely for the photo recreation. But it feels like David Koepp's first time back. He wrote the movie. I'm sure he himself wants to be there, wants to be part of that set, but just at least experience it. I was actually thinking the other day how cool it would be to see a picture of Spielberg on set in Thailand. He visited the Jurassic World set. We know he was on the Fallen Kingdom set, but I don't think he was on Dominion, or was he, Caleb?
Dominion, there was COVID, so like it couldn't have happened anyway. But
yeah. Well, I know they had the bubbles and stuff, but like he didn't at all, did he?
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why. But yeah.
Yeah. So I guess like it would be cool to kind of see the gang all back together.
Absolutely.
With Gareth there too.
Definitely.
Just get
and so far as well. Not that not that everybody likes Gareth's movies, but they're generally pretty well received overall. He's 4 for 4. I think it's pretty solid going. We have a director who's not technically made a bad movie. Again, film is subjective, but like generally, all of his movies are above 6, 7 out of 10, right?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good going. It's a good sense of what we're in for.
Another thing about him that really excites me is his understanding of VFX as well. Like that gives me a lot of confidence in how the dinosaurs are going to look. And do you guys know what Corridor Crew is on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
They sit down and they watch scenes from movies and they analyze the CGI in those scenes. And they recently, on like an episode from a month ago, they brought Gareth Edwards on and they had him watch scenes from some of his movies and other movies, and he was commenting on those scenes, and it just gave me so much faith in what we're going to see in the next Jurassic movie. Like he just completely understands special effects, and
he really does. And the way he spoke about Jurassic Park when he first got interviewed, when he said he dropped everything to make it happen. Everybody talks about like, oh, it's my favorite movie. He's so passionate, and he's like, I've been waiting my whole life to kind of do this kind of thing, and that's what we need to hear.
Absolutely.
I really like Colin. I really liked in the early days, especially everything that was promised and going on. But I remember when Derek Connolly, I think it was Derek Connolly, said he'd never seen the sequels, and I'm pretty sure before they got the gig, he hadn't even seen the first movie. I could be wrong, don't quote me, but I remember reading that and thinking, are these the guys for it? Are these the right people to be taking on the massive franchise that needs a huge reimagining, or should they have gone with someone else? I'm glad that we've got a trusted David Koepp back, and we now have Gareth Edwards, who has sort of demonstrated already that he's more than capable of delivering on this project. You mentioned we talked about David Leitch before, and I think that's where I still have concerns, is that they were so gung-ho for Leitch, and we know that he was literally the director for a week, for a few days. I find it odd in the same sense. Like, what about that movie screamed Jurassic, or was it just that the movie was great, Spielberg loved it, and is Jurassic Park 7 super actiony? Is it like a super moving action, fast-paced movie, and David Leitch's technique behind the camera, maybe that's what they were thinking would align?
So, no. What I was going to say first was that David Leitch and his producing partners are some of the only other people on the planet who know what this movie is. Like, they know, they just can't talk about it. And which is just funny to think about. But like, I agree with what you're saying about the concerns. But then they bring in Gareth Edwards, and so it's like, what's the perspective there? And maybe Spielberg just loved the Fall Guy or thought he was cool and was like, yeah, try Jurassic, try it.
Try it. I don't know if I like that. Try it. See if it works out.
Well, but like what you were saying about like we previously one of the people we previously chose perhaps hadn't even seen the sequels before he got the gig, and it's like maybe like we chose Gareth Edwards this time, who clearly loves Jurassic, and like it's a good thing. But
going back to David Koepp, I kept a tab up. I didn't realize he wrote Panic Room, the David Fincher movie, which, I mean, out of David Fincher movies, I don't think it's his most highly rated, but it's a damn fine movie, and it's a very isolated sort of conspiracy thriller.
Is that the Jodie Foster movie?
Yeah, Jodie Foster, Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah,
I think isn't Jared Leto in that movie as well? As like one of the guys that it's been a long time.
God, it's a great movie though, and it's interesting that Koepp wrote that sort of isolated, contained within one location it makes sense. But it's quite a, it's not spooky is the wrong word to describe it. It's a good thriller. That just I've forgotten. I don't even think I knew David Kep wrote that, but that just made me a little bit more excited. His body of work is so varied, but in the right way, that in like the direction I want to. Like Cold Storage, everything I've heard about that, I just can't. It sounds so relevant to Jurassic.
Yeah, absolutely. Cold Storage definitely is, and like we can talk about that if we want. I was just going to mention a movie that Kep wrote either 2 or 3 years ago called Kimi, Kimi. And it has Zoe Kravitz in it, and she's like a customer service rep for a social media company, and she like, or for a security company actually, I think, and she like witnesses someone being unalived on security footage that she's having to monitor, and like she can't do anything about it, and she's being threatened, but at the same time she has a phobia where she's afraid to go outdoors. And so it's also a very, like, she's in her apartment the whole time. It's a very Rear Window, like, thriller mystery thing. And it's another, like, very isolated thing that David Kep wrote recently. That also makes me excited.
I just pulled that up, actually, and saw that it was being referred to as a Hitchcock piece.
Yeah. I've seen it. It definitely is.
I'll have to check that out.
I'm just sort of going through his page now. He obviously he's had some stinkers. They had the Tom Cruise The Mummy. He wrote that. That's right. I think that failed for a lot of reasons other than David Kep, though.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of reasons there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't even have final say over his own script, if I remember.
That movie
there
did
was
not.
An expose about Cruise and his team.
Yeah, that movie did not feel like Kep. It felt like the director did a poor job, but yeah.
Yeah, felt like AI a little bit. You Should Have Left. I haven't seen that. That is wait. Oh, I think I have seen that. That is a psychological horror film written by David Kep in 2020. Kind of low, okay. Low budget, $4 million. Amanda Seyfried, the girl from Mean Girls. I forget her name. Amanda
Seyfried,
yeah. Kevin Bacon as well. I think I have seen this, actually. That's also kind of a isolated, contained within a house thriller. He's been on that.
Cold Storage
vibe.
Cold Storage is one of the most chilling things I have ever read. Like, it's about government handling like a biological contagion that was supposed to be stored away. And I don't want to spoil too much, but like it's just extremely unsettling and violent and suspenseful, and like it feels like he's going to bring that to Jurassic, since he wrote that recently. So yeah,
that's interesting.
It does seem like there are similarities in some of Kep's work. Obviously, we're talking about Jurassic Park, for God's sake, but like between Michael Crichton's work and then what Kep has done novel-wise, Cold Storage, like just the synopsis reads like a Crichton movie, a Crichton novel, a Michael Crichton story. They're adapting it already, aren't they? Cold Storage, it's becoming.
Yeah, I think it's already wrapped filming, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah,
Liam Neeson, Joe Keery. Oh, yeah. He's the guy from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, very in for more David Kep. I think he's also writing the new Spielberg film, right?
Which the alien one.
The UFO, yeah.
Hell yeah.
We're excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got E.T., Close Encounters, War of the Worlds. Has he done another alien one that I'm forgetting?
God, I love War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds is an incredible movie.
Yeah.
So
directed, I can't think of any. Yeah, I know he executive produced like Men in Black and stuff like that. But
Men in Black.
Yeah.
Which is like also based on real world experiences.
Men in Black's a documentary, they say, isn't it?
Think about this: Spielberg is producing a dinosaur movie and preparing an alien movie at the same time. So
it's the 90s all over again.
I was just going to say the same thing. Yeah.
It's coming back. We have some sense of Jurassic World 4 from set photos, from things that we're seeing. We know there's going to be a Parasaurolophus in it, confirmed. Based on what happened in the Jurassic World trilogy, and based on Chaos Theory, Camp Cretaceous, the side projects, what do you want the fourth world movie to be? What do you want the seventh movie to be?
Ooh,
What's your ultimate story? If Universal gave you a pen and paper and they were like, "What do you want?"
Oh no!
What power's on you?
You go first, Jake.
Don't do that. No. That's the thing, is I don't know. I know what I want in tone. That's what I know I want. But in terms of where it takes place and where it leads the franchise going forward, I really don't have a direct answer for that. I just know what I want it to feel like,
Yes.
Yeah.
I can get with that. What about if I ask, what era? Do you want it to be post-Dominion?
The fan in me wants it to be a prequel. I'm craving to go back. Yeah, I want that 90s aesthetic, early 2000s, whatever it is. Like, I want to, and I would love for the movie to be called Jurassic Park something. It's not going to happen, but there's just something about seeing Park next to the Jurassic title. It just, I don't know, it just does something different in my brain than seeing Jurassic World. I can't explain it, but
no, I'm totally with you there. It's
that makes sense.
It just gives me a different feeling. Yeah.
And that's helps it stand apart to me in a way. That's why I'm with you. I do hope the next one is that, or the subtitle is Jurassic Park and it's something new.
That'd be amazing. Yeah. And maybe that's why we haven't gotten a title announcement. Maybe they're still like debating on what to call it, or I don't know. But
it might be one of those movies that they still they do not know what to call it, and they're still up to release. They'll be figuring it out.
And that's why we didn't get a tease yesterday.
Yeah, they're freaking out. Like, what do we call it? We can't just say the fourth one.
Jurassic, the fourth one.
The fourth, yeah. Shrek goes fourth. Jurassic goes fourth.
I mean, we got Jurassic Park 3, the only one that really doesn't have a subtitle. So like, we could get Jurassic Park 7, or just Jurassic World 4. But I doubt it.
Yeah.
I think they are reaching that point where calling it 4 or 7, they probably are wanting to avoid that just because 7. They're milking it. But what do you call it without knowing the story? We really don't know. And based on what we do know, it sounds like we're sort of going back to the island again. So I don't know what to call it.
I think it's only
there's been it's under the working title Saga, right? Saga is the working title. So I don't think that really tells us anything. They're obviously viewing it at like the saga of Jurassic, the whole tale from start to finish. I don't know.
The fan in me wants to go back and wants a prequel. I just don't know what the chances of that are. But like, I do think objectively the chances that we're going back to the island, Sorna or Nublar, are pretty good. I think there are things that point that way, and like that alone feels like a good thing, or it feels like something that will be cool, because we could easily go somewhere else and I would be fine with that if it's after Dominion. But like, if it's after Dominion but we're going back to Sorna, like that's a bold choice, because like it has to be, I don't know, like we were talking about David Koepp and
so left out.
So I don't know, I know
that at one point in time during Fallen Kingdom, the screenplay for that movie ended up on Isla Sorna. And I believe Colin, actually, we've said this on the podcast before, but Colin told me to my face, you'll love what we've done with Sorna.
I remember you saying that, yeah.
Fallen Kingdom. And it's like, well, when Dominion finally came out, I thought back and I was like, what did you do with Sorna? Like,
maybe we're about to find out.
Where can I see that? Maybe he was having me on, but I do feel at some point there were serious plans to go back there. And I do think as well, many people, I think this isn't a secret, but the Sanctuary Island in Dominion in Fallen Kingdom was supposed to be Sauna at one point. I believe Dominion at some point was considering Sauna, but obviously they ended up not doing that. Maybe Kep has been brought in to be like, okay, we're telling a coinciding story. It happens alongside Jurassic World or Fallen Kingdom. It's about maybe what was happening on Sauna, which could help establish this bigger Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Maybe the intention was to always save it for after Dominion concluded.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they already knew that in some way Sorna was going to be involved in the next series of films.
Maybe we're going to the Sanctuary Island, and maybe it's the Sanctuary Island, or maybe we're going to the Sanctuary Island and it's Isla Sorna. Maybe it's been Isla Sorna, because we never went there. We never saw it.
Yeah,
maybe it was a lot. I mean, Mills lied. They all lied about everything else, basically. Like, who knows what the Sanctuary Island actually was? But
exactly, we never saw the real thing. We never saw a location, and it also didn't make much sense because of the whole volcano. And then you would just take the dinosaurs to Sauna, wouldn't you, or any of the other 5 islands that exist there in that chain.
Yeah, maybe
you wouldn't go to a sanctuary island off the coast of California or somewhere else in the world, which is why
that's a good point.
The island, is it a different island?
Maybe
if so, how are the dinosaurs there?
Maybe something's been happening on Sorna this whole time that that InGen or someone has been trying to keep a secret, and that's why it's been sort of out of the picture for a little while. But I don't know.
The video on the dock, which shows props on the dock, which potentially say InGen, but we can't confirm that. I don't know if I believe that at this point in time.
Yeah, unconfirmed.
There were a bunch of fakes going around as well, which was pretty annoying and sad. But
were they convincing, the fakes?
I think they were convincing certain, like many people, yeah.
But okay, because
when I was composing it, I was then looking at them thinking these look edited to me.
The the fakes that are for sure fakes were called out as fakes. Like the dot pictures are unconfirmed, I suppose.
Unconfirmed, and there is a video.
Yeah, there's a video of the same dot.
Seeing the stills that looked fake. I hadn't seen that there was actually a video that showed this location, so the video exists.
These blurry photos match like the flooring of the dock and the other stuff on the dock, and the fuel pump is in the dock, but you can't really make out a logo on it at all. Like, I don't, in my opinion. So like, I don't know. The dock is there, like, again. Yeah, and all the props are on it, but it's like so odd. The video of the dock is clear, and then the photos on the dock are extremely blurry, and it's just odd. It would be so cool if it was real and there was an old InGen logo on that fuel pump, obviously, but it's like can't confirm it at this point. So
no. And I think if for example, if it was an InGen logo, then we're either going back to Isla Sorna, Isla Nublar, or a new location where they own the island.
And they're selling Isla Sorna gas. InGen gasoline.
What are we? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jack. I was just going to ask what. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I'm making a dinosaurs and gasoline joke, but I'll see myself out. So go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what do we think of the rumored like dinosaur lists that are put out there for what we might see in this film? I don't know if you guys already talked about that on the last podcast or not, but
I haven't actually seen.
I haven't either.
Oh, I've. It's probably BS, but I've seen people sharing that around on Twitter.
Run us through it.
Yeah, I'll have to find it, but all of them include the Spinosaurus, which obviously makes me a little bit skeptical. But
well, there's that too. The whole Spinosaurus inclusion we've been hearing for a minute. Where did we see the Spinosaurus? Isla Sorna.
Yes. Yeah.
Just makes me feel like maybe we are going back. There are so many alignments, but I found the post about Scarlett Johansson's head sticking out the boat.
I think he was joking, but I don't know.
He was joking.
Okay, but he was. Oh,
there's a comment that says 2005 Skull Island vibes, and I totally agree. That's the vibe I was getting. But the boat looks like an old lifeboat.
Yeah, I got that vibe too. It looks kind of not modern.
Like Titanic's lifeboats.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell from what we're seeing here, but
Maybe
I get a sense that it's like a
maybe
little life
they
raft or something.
maybe they go down to the Titanic in a submarine and they steal a lifeboat and then take it to Isla Sorna.
The thing is, after Thailand, they're in Malta for 6 weeks. It might be longer than 6 weeks, but they're filming in water tanks exclusively. So whatever happens in this movie, there's a lot that takes place either underwater or on the water, which is really exciting. Maybe there's a huge sequence that takes place on a boat.
I'm down.
Like just and they just need it to be on the ocean or something. We'll see when the set pictures.
That's the thing for me too. Is I don't feel like the mosasaur was ever properly utilized in the Jurassic World movies. Like it was basically just it did the Shamu thing like over and over again in each one of where it jumps out of the water and it lands. It did exactly. It just kept it over and over, same thing, and we never got to see it be creepy. It never had its Jaws moment that I was really expecting it to have. So if they do bring the Mosasaurus back or some other aquatic reptile / dinosaur, I hope they do it right and I hope they make it scary.
We need more. We need more of the Fallen Kingdom intro opening.
Yes,
Mosasaurus.
Yes. That's the one. That's the one time they did it right. Yeah, in my opinion.
And that's the thing about the ocean, thalassophobia, right? Fear of the unknown and what
that's
you
the word.
see.
Yeah.
That's the Mosasaurus. Imagine being out on a ship.
Oh man!
I talked in a previous podcast. We talked about how the Mosasaur never got its time on screen, and how the story of 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but with a Mosasaurus as a sort of isolated Jurassic movie that's purely on the ocean. How cool would that be? And truly giving no other dinosaurs in the movie. Maybe pteranodons, maybe something in the sky, but just the Mosasaurus underground that you barely see, same as the shark in Jaws. I think that would be a no-go.
We talked in previous podcasts about like illegal dino tours like Jurassic Park 3 or something. Maybe it's a dino cruise. Maybe it's like a big boat or something. And that sounds like a joke, and it kind of is. But like, what if it's a large dino cruise or something that, dinosaurs obviously encounter it and it goes wrong. But 50% joking.
I can kind of see that though, because you think of, if we're talking about post-Dominion, you think of how people in Dominion were dealing with dinosaurs, and some of them treating them not like animals and then using and abusing. And we see in Chaos Theory the same thing, the guy with the stickies and they're on chains and stuff. Imagine if there is this dino tour that's sort of off the books, sort of not. It's a massive thing, and they have a way of doing it where they're able to sort of not control but contain the dinosaurs, but make it look like the wild dinosaurs get out, attack. Like maybe there's like underwater barriers or something that protect. You know what I mean? Like, there's a Spinosaurus over there. We're sailing through, but it's never going to be able to reach us, kind of thing. Maybe that goes wrong. The tour gets attacked, and those people all get stranded wherever it is. That could be something that would explain maybe the smoke on the boat too.
That sounds like fun to me.
Yeah.
It's a cool concept. You think of like kind of a shady business where they're doing true dino tours, like you said, almost like on a cruise, Caleb, but they've got dinosaurs somehow controlled at the sides or contained enough that it's like scary but just safe, just close enough. I don't know. It's hard not knowing at this point.
Definitely. And I was going to say too, that scene, it's Monsters is the movie that he directed, Monster or Monsters, whatever the title is. That scene where the jet, you see the jet, it's like floating in the water, and then the alien comes by and like pulls it down. You see the lights like illuminating in the water. Like that scene gives me a lot of faith in how he could potentially shoot a water scene involving a dinosaur. Makes me excited.
Yeah, that's so true. I'd forgotten about. I need to rewatch Monsters because I only saw it when it first came out, but I have a feeling it's going to be a really good indication on what we might get. I know a lot of it takes place in a jungly environment.
Yeah.
God. I'm trying to look through Real News now just to see any updates from.
He shared some just some location, like stock photos of some of the places they are, and it's just unbelievably gorgeous. It's gonna look so good.
That's the thing. Visually, it could be the islands based on where they're filming, but also it could be somewhere completely different. Those giant, like the same thing was seen in the opening of The Creator. You know, the beat on the beach, that whole sequence. You
Yeah,
see a very similar location to what we're seeing now, and these giant rock formations that make up the coastline. You know, how much of that are we going to see, and how much of that is going to be we're seeing, say for example, Isla Sorna, but we've never seen it like this.
a
This is
new
a different
side.
side.
Yeah, a new side.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just looking at those valley pictures now, and it's just absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's standing in. Maybe Thailand as a whole is standing in for Costa Rica. Maybe we're getting that story, the coast that's closest to the islands. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing about the whole Suriname thing. So there was the set photo of the set
Bar.
that had been built. Yeah, the bar, and there was a Suriname flag on the top of that, on the roof of that bar, which doesn't confirm, for example, that the bar is in Suriname, but
It could
kind of
be
gives us
in.
that.
Yeah, it could be in Costa Rica, and the bar owner or some Van Dyke is from Suriname, maybe.
Yeah, exactly right. But if it is a bar in Suriname, it that gives me less reason to think it's the Jurassic Park Islands. Maybe it's
Yeah,
totally the other side. If
yeah,
it's a route that leaves from this bar, for example, or you meet somebody in the bar, then it would be west coast of South America.
yeah.
It's not an easy path to get from Suriname to the Jurassic Islands. So that
That's a
tells
good
me
point.
maybe it is one of the other islands. Maybe there's hundreds of little. I could be wrong with hundreds, but there's loads of Caribbean islands, and there's loads of little tiny islands in the Caribbean Sea.
And
Could be any of
maybe,
those.
yeah, maybe the sanctuary is on that side of South America, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe that was their plan all along, taking them East Coast. For what reason, we don't know. But yeah, I think it would be interesting to see if and when we hear anything. How long left in Thailand do they have, Caleb?
So they're in Thailand through July 16th, and then they're going to Malta, and then they're going to the UK after that. So they're in Malta for at least a few weeks, I think, right?
I think it was 6 weeks almost in Malta. I think it's a long time.
Yeah, let me see. Let me see if
I
I
could be
can
wrong. But
pull up the actual thing, the dates if we have them. Let me see.
1 year out, though, I wonder. I think either Comic Con now is the most logical sense, or just sort of an announcement out of the blue from Universal or from
I feel like
the
it's gonna
official Jurassic
be
World accounts.
out of the blue.
Yeah, I was going to say my gut is telling me that it's just going to be random. Nobody's going to
So
see it coming, and it's just going to drop. Like, all right,
so
cool.
they're in Thailand till July 16th, and then they move to Malta. Supposedly between the last half of July and September, and then after that they move to the UK in September and a bit of October. I think the end of the schedule that had been going around was mid-October, early to mid-October, something like that.
So they're in Malta for a fair chunk of time.
Yeah, I mean at least 5 or 6 weeks it seems. Yeah.
Yeah. And that, we've talked about that before. The filming on water, underwater, it takes a lot more setup and health and safety and everything. But that is a hefty filming schedule there. So there is this movie is either has a fair amount underwater or in the water or something on the water, or whether it's a boat. We talked about maybe it was a submarine encountering a mosasaur. That could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Going forward, it kind of is a waiting game now. Now that the mark of a year where everybody thought there would be an announcement, there wasn't one. So now we are kind of in that grey zone where we just have to wait and see. Maybe Frank's been sharing the past 2 days, been sharing photos from the Twisted set, and I think making everybody's heart jump for a sec.
Yeah. Maybe they're waiting. Maybe they're waiting for the Jurassic Park 3 anniversary to share something.
Ooh.
July 18th.
Maybe. Mm-hmm.
Before we wrap this up, then, Jake, any further thoughts on Jurassic World 4? It's obviously hard to have any sense about the movie now, but knowing what we know, are you still super excited?
Immensely excited. I thought I would have a lot more to say because I was really counting on that July 2nd announcement, which we didn't get. But
we all were.
every single set photo, everything that Frank Marshall posts, like it just gets me more and more excited. So yeah, I'm incredibly optimistic about the movie. Yeah. So,
it's going to be really fun as we move forward.
Yeah, I just have a really like just something in my gut. Just I have a really good feeling about this film. So
yeah, absolutely.
We'll see. Just something is telling me like this is the one. This is the one we've all really been waiting for. Like it's going to finally scratch that itch that the Jurassic World movies just didn't. So could be wrong, but it's just this feeling I have. So I hope I'm right.
Are you similar in me in your view of the Jurassic World movies that they kind of just got not, and it's personal, it's subjective.
Yeah.
They got worse as they went along. Is that how you view it?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Because to me, even the first Jurassic World, I have plenty of problems with it, but it still felt like the closest to Jurassic Park in tone than the other ones did for me. But yeah, I would say I hate saying worse and worse because that makes it seem like I hate those movies. But my preference, it just Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, and then Dominion in that order for sure.
Yeah. It definitely feels like we need, again, maybe lack of a better word, but we need a win. We need a damn fine movie.
Definitely. And when I think of Jurassic World, like I don't, those movies didn't completely do it for me, but they did do so many great things for the fan base and for dinosaurs in general. So when I think of those films, the reaction I get is mostly just positive. You know, it really brought everybody together, and it led us to where we are right now. So getting this new movie. Yeah, I'm still grateful for all of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That even if you really dislike those movies, it has allowed for us to be in the position now where we might be getting this movie.
Yeah,
exactly. And I still have so many fond memories of just looking at the set photos and just speculating and wondering and just all of that. There was a huge gap of like 10 years where we didn't have any of that. So.
Yeah.
We just had Dan's
It's just nice to exactly checking it and refreshing every day.
Yeah. The message boards.
Yeah. Definitely. JP Legacy too, all that. Yeah.
JP Legacy, JP Database was there for a while.
Yeah.
I like Database.
Jurassic World 4 or JurassicPark4.org.
Hey, we got there. Yeah, God, JP Aftermath. Do you remember JP Aftermath?
I remember that. Yeah.
Wow. That was a great website too. Vivid memories of these .coms. InGeneral.
Remember the old.
That's all we had.
Remember the old Lost World website? Remember that one?
The interactive one, right?
Yeah.
Is it still online? Can you see it?
I checked it about a year ago, and it. Yeah.
Yeah. Somehow, I think you still can somehow.
I think JP3.Jurassic Park was still alive for a while. No, that's gone now.
Actually. On the Wayback Machine or something.
Yes. Yeah. You
Bummer.
can get it on there. Well, hey, Jake, where can people find you if you want them to?
If you want them to, JakeMD93 on Twitter. So yeah.
Perfect. You mean X, right? X, right?
Oh, of course. I'll never call it that.
I know. Did you see that X post? I guess it doesn't make sense.
I haven't heard a single person say that. Yeah.
It's a tweet on Twitter.
Exactly. We share this X with you.
That doesn't
Jake,
sound right.
Thanks for joining us today, man. I really appreciate it. It's been great to finally have you on. We've been trying to do this for a while.
Thank you all.
Yeah, Jake. Thank you, man.
There's going to be so much more to talk about as we go forward. So
awesome. I'd love to be included. Yeah.
100%. Thank you, everybody out there, for listening to the InGeneral podcast. Check out JurassicOutpost.com for more. And bye, I guess.